I can't repeat what I said.
I know, that's what I'm saying. Man.
That's off the cuff, off the dome.
That's all. It was perfect.
All right, starting out today, this is 10th University, and we created this podcast to find those rare people that have a rare mindset. I'm talking if it's 100 people, they're in that top 10 percentile. And today we got a special guest. Man, this is really the home team right here because, man, it's been a while. It's been a while. Dr. Marvin Scott, we're going to speak about his entrepreneurial journey, and he's going to give us a lot of advice. And I'm going to let you reintroduce yourself because you got many titles.
Okay. Well, again, I'm Marvin Scott. Well, you know, I got many titles because I used to be the assistant dean for student affairs in the College of Pharmacy.
Right.
So the students call me Dr. Scott. You know, I'm a pharmacist by trade, by profession. Went to pharmacy school. I got my BS in pharmacy, and then I got my doctor of pharmacy. And the crazy thing about it, when I was getting my doctor of pharmacy, I was working 3-4 jobs as well.
Wow.
So I was grinding while I was in school. But I'm also a pastor. So, and then of course I have my business, LM3 Solutions, where I do personal and business coaching and leadership training, those types of things.
Yeah. So I know for me it was a big shock, you know, seeing you, from when I was in pharmacy, seeing you on stage, seeing you speak, seeing your influence, seeing you give us those weekly talks of motivation. It was huge.
Yeah.
And then when I found out you were an entrepreneur, I was like, oh my goodness, I'm tapped in. I gotta speak to him.
Well, you know, actually, you know, that forum class, you know, for me, was important because, you know, for me gave me an opportunity to talk to the students, not just about pharmacy, but about life. You know, my thing was, I don't want you just to be a good pharmacist. I want you to be a great person. And so what better way is when you come in as a freshman or sophomore and I'm able to talk to you about, you know, habits of mind and talk to you about a budget and talk to you about relationships and all those different things that as you go through college, you're going to start experiencing those things. And I want to be able to have a situation where something's going on and you can hear my voice and Dr. Scott did talk about this. So that was important to me. So I really enjoyed that forum class with the freshman and sophomore students.
Yeah, I remember just, you know, going through it and just in the back of my mind hearing you say something about time management.
Yeah.
And so let's talk a little bit about you. Like if you had to, you know, give a spill about who is Dr. Marvin Scott. Like, so I remember you from down south.
Like Fort Pierce, Florida, the city with no pity.
With no pity.
Yeah, I love Fort Pierce. I'm from Fort Pierce. Again, I'm the youngest. I'm about to say the youngest of 5 because my mom had 5 kids, 4 boys, 1 girl. My sister's the oldest, but my dad had a daughter before him and my mom got married. Yeah. So, and she's actually the oldest. But I didn't meet her until I was about 40. You know, so that was
that's
you know,
a movie.
Yeah, I mean, you know, so it was different, but you know, and we just have, you know, a family, grow up close knit family. I'm actually the first in my family to go away to college.
Wow. No, your story is similar to my father. My father, he's a pharmacist as well. First one to make it out of West Palm, and I remember just talking about some of the money struggles that, you know, you had. My father used to have too, which was new money. Spending like crazy,
right?
And we laugh about this all the time. My dad was an athlete; he would have been went broke. You know? So.
Yeah, that's the thing because, you know, I've learned over the years there's a difference between being poor and being broke, right? Wow. And I grew up in Fort Pierce and I was poor. Okay. Because poor is a mindset, broke is a state of being, right? Gotcha. And so anybody who's broke can get money in their pocket, you know what I mean, and not be broke anymore.
Right.
But you got to change the way you think in order to stop being poor, right? So I went to pharmacy school. I graduated. Like I say, while I was getting my doctor of pharmacy degree, I was working 3 or 4 jobs. I was working at Health South Rehabilitation Hospital. I was working at American Home Patient. I was working at Winn-Dixie Pharmacy, and at one point I was still working at Kmart Pharmacy. Wow. So I was getting it in and going to school full time to get my doctor of pharmacy, but I couldn't tell you where all the money went. You follow what I'm saying? Whoa. And then even after I graduated, I got married, we got kids, we got money coming in, but I still couldn't tell you where the money went.
Yeah.
And so it took situations where, money's tight. I'm sitting down with this lady to go over my finances to try to refinance the house and, get a loan for something. And she looked at all the money that I made and said, with all the money you're making, you should be ashamed of yourself.
Whoa.
Yeah, so she hit me with that, and man, that thing hurt. I was embarrassed. I just got all my stuff together, and I walked out of office, and I just left. Didn't say anything else. I just left. Yeah. I got in my car, and I was like, you know what, though? She's right. I should do better. And so for me, that started a process of learning and understanding budgets and those different things so that I could do better, so that I could retire and not, depend on my business when I'm starting out, right. To take care of me, because it's like a baby. I have to allow it to grow and develop. So I got to be able to take care of it.
Wow, that's a lesson. That one sunk in personally, because even when I feel like I was doing so much, and then just working 2 jobs, school, and 10th university, and trying to manage a relationship. It was a lot.
Yes.
So, at one point I did have to realize, like, okay, yeah, I could be charging more, yeah, I could be, focused on the money, but it would take away from, the business growing, the business, getting its foundation, as you said.
Right.
So, but basically it's because of your struggles, because of things you went through, is that what led you into business management and, coaching?
Yeah. Well, because I like helping people.
Gotcha.
So for example, one of the first things I did when I started on ministry, I started doing money management courses.
Gotcha.
I started doing money management, because I didn't want anyone else to go through what I went through. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so to see people who thought they couldn't get houses, get houses. See their credit scores go up. They're in houses. They're getting cars. I mean, I had some family had to say, "Hey, look, slow down. Slow down. You're doing good, but now don't overdo it, because tomorrow it's coming." You know what I mean?
Right.
So, but to see that makes me feel better. So my mindset is always, I don't want you to go through some of the things that I went through. So the same thing with my kids, I don't want them to go through some of the same things I went through. So I tell them, now at the end of the day, you're going to have your own life. You're going to have your own experiences. But one thing you can't say is, I didn't know.
Right. That's powerful right there. That's powerful. Yeah. Man, so let's talk about LM3 Solutions. Like, what does it stand for? What is the mission?
Yeah.
It's pretty interesting.
Yeah. So LM3 Solutions, right, is that stands for Leadership and 3 Levels of Management, right? Gotcha. And a part of LM3 Solutions is where we do our motivational speaking. It's our platform where we do personal coaching, business coaching. That's our platform for that. One of the things that I talk about is, I understand that in life you can dig a hole so deep that it'll take you a lifetime to climb out of, let alone cover it up. You know what I mean?
Right.
So my desire is to help people climb out that hole and fill that hole a lot faster, because I care, you know what I mean? Because I really genuinely care about people. I mean, if you think about it, when you were in my class, and I got all these students, and I used to call y'all my babies, right?
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, I care. And I mean, to see anybody do better because of something that I can say that meant a lot, you know what I mean? And to have situations where some students were going through certain things, and then they can come and talk to me, and we're able to help them and guide them and lead them through certain situations. I mean, that's the same thing with LM3 Solutions. That's why I'm here. Wow. So when people have situations and they need help climbing out of certain things, hey, let's sit down, let's talk about it, let's work together, collaborate together to see what's the best action for you.
Wow, no, that's solid right there. Let's talk about some of the things that you're involved in, right?
Okay.
So, like the ministry, like how I'm curious, like how does the ministry, the business and like your like finance, what was it, Financial Friday?
First Friday Finance.
First Friday Finance. Like how does all of those three tie in together? Like,
well, they because for me, they're all a part of who I am.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So it's like I used to say how, and I actually talk about this in my book about how, I had to learn how to be focused on where I am at that moment. Zoom out to get a bigger picture and see everything. But then when it's time, learn how to focus, get this area here, make sure I'm here. So when I'm with my kids are not getting a piece of me, they're getting all of me, even though Dr. Scott might be needed somewhere else. You know what I'm saying? When I go to school, go to campus, then campus gets all of me. I focus, I'm doing my job, and I want to do my job well there. So I learned how to zoom in. I learned how to focus. But again, it's just a part of who I am. I don't stop being Pastor Scott just because I'm working on campus today. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm still that person as well. I'm still a coach. I'm still a mentor. I'm still that person. So just depends on what's going on and what you need at that time. Mm-hmm. That's who I am. So there's been several times I'm on campus as Dr. Scott, a professor, but I'm also working as a mentor because someone needs that.
Right.
They need a different voice. Some students need a big brother. Some students need an uncle.
Right.
Some students need a father figure. You know what I'm saying? So it just, you learn how to become that so that you can give people the help they need. I
definitely personally experienced all of that too. Cause like I remember sometimes I see you on stage and it's like I don't know, like depending on who you're speaking to and depending on the situation, it can show a different side,
Right.
Because sometimes, you be the loving guy. Hey, you guys are my babies. Sometimes it's like, well, actually you're late. Actually you're on your phone. Actually you're about to get it. I'm about to let you out.
Right. Well, because a good father chastises his child.
Okay.
Yeah. Because it would be wrong of me to let you think you can get away with whatever here, knowing that when you go somewhere else, they're not going to let you get away with it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So there's a standard, because at the end of the day, when you leave my class or when you leave this university, you represent not just yourself. You don't represent just the university. You represent me. You know what I mean?
Right.
So if you do something to embarrass yourself, guess what? I'm embarrassed.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Wow. I feel if you're hurt, I'm hurt. You know what I mean? If you're in need, I'm in need, because you are a representation of me. And so I feel like it's important for me to make sure that I work with you on all levels and not just give you the peaches and cream, but every now and then you got to get the down and dirty.
Yeah. I remember you snatched me up one time. We was on the second floor, and I was like, oh, this guy, like, man, I'm getting my butt whooped. I'm like, I think I'm done, blah, blah, blah. And you just kind of was like, you could see that I was on that in between. You basically grabbed me, was like, hey, listen, like, hey, like, you were tripping, you know what I'm saying? he was like, you giving up, blah, 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 this and that. I mean, you even went to the point, he was like, see, she was like, you're a man and you want a winner woman. And you was like, you have to be a winner yourself. Like, she don't deserve that, blah, blah. I was like, whoa, man, I need to really reflect right now.
I remember that now. Yeah, if as a man, if you want a woman that's a winner, then as a man, you got to be a winner too. You know what I mean? You can't if you don't want a woman that doesn't quit. If you want a woman that doesn't quit, then you got to be that same type of guy. That way she would know that. Guess what? If she's in the fight, you're gonna stick right there with her. Neither one of you gonna quit, and you guys are gonna work till you see the end. You know what I mean? And that's, again, a lot of times in relationships, that's part of the issue. Everybody looking. You know what? It's easy to quit. We'll fight for everything else we think we want, but for that relationship, we may not be willing to fight for it, you know. And again, no, I understand the dynamics of relationships.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I really do. But you know, at the end of the day, sometimes, you know, if you want it, guess what you'll do?
Fight for it.
You'll fight for it.
Yeah. So, man, let's talk about. Oh, did you have 3? If you could pick 3 key traits that an entrepreneur has, or that you've seen from your coaching, that, you know, the people that's winning, like, what 3 things do they have in common? You know.
Resilience is number 1. And the reason I say resilience is number 1 because most people tell you when you first start out, them are some tough days. You know what I mean? There's some tough days, long nights. Everything doesn't always go perfect. You know what I mean? There's not many people who start a business and automatically it takes off and it's just great. You know what I mean?
That'd be easy. That'd be too easy.
So resilience, I think, is one. I think the other one is, and I kind of put these together: creativity and discipline.
Okay.
I'll put those together because creativity is, you know, again, you want to create a business that's able to create multiple streams.
Right.
So you don't want to have all your eggs in one basket. So you want to create a business that has multiple streams, and then you want to be disciplined to work those different streams. A lot of times we like to work the part of the business that's our strength. But we also got to look at those things that we don't like to do as much, but it's a part of what we do. And we have to do that. An example is, like, for me, I'll be honest with you, I'm not a social media guy.
I understand.
I'm not a social media guy. But, you know, one of the things I'll do is I'll try to post a scripture, do things like that. But again, that's something that's a struggle for me. You know, so I have to apologize sometimes because I know people sometimes might be looking for something else from me. That is a area of struggle for me because I've never just been, you know, that type of person where I like to just post things. I don't like posting stuff just to post it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If I can't be a help, then why am I saying it?
Yeah.
You follow what I'm saying? So it's hard for me to just say, hey, y'all, I'm at the grocery store.
Yeah, check me out. You know, I'm at Publix.
Right, because for me, it's not about that.
Yeah.
Whatever I put out, I want it to be something that'll encourage you, that'll motivate you, that'll bless you. You know what I'm saying?
And I think that also, I'm gonna let you get to your last point, but I think that also ties into your personality, you know, where it's like, you know, we're both introverted naturally, you know, we gotta recharge, be by ourselves sometimes, and then, you know, see the people. But it's like, when you do speak, your words have a lot of value. When you do speak, it's like, okay, you're heard. And that only comes from valuing what you say,
right?
And when you say it,
right?
And that's not a social media thing.
yeah. But that's true though. You know, if you want people to value what you say, then what you say has to have value. Right. You can't say something with a lot of fat.
Right.
You know, it got to be all meat. You know what I mean? Yeah. Those types of things. I feel like that. But so you got to be resilient. You got to be creative and disciplined. And then I think the last thing is you got to be open.
Okay.
You got to be open for help. You got to be open to change. You know what I'm saying? You got to be able to see what's going on in your particular market.
Right. And
be able to go with that. And I think if you're able to be open to change, to adapt to what's going on, I think, you know, you in the long run you'll be successful. Okay. You know, I used to be in the Marine Corps,
right? And
you know, our thing with the Marine Corps was to improvise. You know, adapt, overcome. You know, there's no situation that's too tough. You just got to look at it the right way. You know what I mean? So there's a story about how, you know, these generals were talking and they were saying, you know, who was the smartest type of soldier. And so you had the Army, the Air Force, all these guys. And so they asked these soldiers to put a square peg in a round hole. And the Air Force guy came and he looked at it and he, you know, he's intelligent, says it's a square peg, that's a round hole. Doesn't work. Right. You know, the Army and Navy guy come up, they look at it, same thing. Intelligent, hey, square peg, round hole, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
The Marine comes, looks at it, square peg, round hole, Give me a second. He grabs his K-bar, starts cutting on the square peg, made it round, dropped it in the hole.
Yeah.
So again, it depends on how you look at it, whether or not a situation is impossible. Are you willing to improvise? Are you willing to make adjustments? I think that would help businesses become very successful. Sometimes you got to not look at it and say it's impossible. I just got to cut this part out, or I got to make some changes and it'll fit.
Yeah. That's powerful right there. That's 3 powerful points right there. And I think that's you know they say the most stressful thing for most people, the average person, is simply change.
Yes.
And that's why I think being an entrepreneur is not for everybody, because it's constant change, and it's almost like it's almost like a recessive gene just to be an entrepreneur. But I think what I love about the show is that we just spread it, because growing up, I didn't know that being an entrepreneur was an option, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I just didn't think of that.
Right.
And so I just want to tap into just more ways to spread that, just so people know it is an option.
It is an option, right? You know, and I think the thing is this is, I think anybody could really, start a business, but to be an entrepreneur, I ask people this all the time when I'm talking to some of my clients. I ask, okay, who do you work for? In other words, are you a business owner or are you self-employed? You know what I mean?
So what's the difference?
Well, okay, so self-employed, you're working for yourself, you're working the business, and so who's the worst person to work for?
Guessing yourself.
Yourself. That's the word. Because listen, you don't give yourself any days off.
Wow.
You know what I mean? You're not feeling well, and you probably should take the day off, but you feel like, look, if I don't do it, nobody else will do it. I ain't making no money. So guess what? So what's happening is everything you do in your business is tied up around you doing it. You're self-employed. But if you are a business owner, then you're looking to employ people so that even if I don't go to work, somebody's working. So all of us need to strive to be a business owner,
right,
and not just self-employed. Now, don't get it twisted. There's certain things that you have to do. You know what I mean? For example, if you're going to be in motivational speaking, you're going to be self-employed.
Yeah, you got to speak.
Because you got to speak, right?
Right.
Unless you start creating conferences and things and where you bring in others, and you have people paying a registration fee, and you pay all your speakers, what's left is yours. So even with that, you can expand and become a business owner from the standpoint of, now I put on events. Yes, I may headline the event or whatever, but I bring other people in to speak, blah, blah, blah. I'm getting registration fees, and then what's left I get. So even if I didn't speak, I can still get paid. So there's ways, even with that, to become a business owner and not just a employee. But I understand in some things you have to be the owner and the employee, but that doesn't mean that you can't hire other people to bring in other some more income.
Yeah, that's powerful right there. Wow. Yeah, I wanted to speak about, is there any you have any advice on entrepreneurs and money? Because I know a lot of times, in college startups, people want to take it serious, but they find themselves mixed up with the paperwork. They find themselves using all their time and not tracking exactly how much money they're making, probably until tax time. What are some basically some simple mistakes that young entrepreneurs make that could be avoided?
I mean, I think you just said it. One is not tracking the money, but that's period, because most young people make that mistake without tracking their money, their personal income. You know what I'm saying? So, and again, when we talk about budgets, the first thing the budget starts with is knowing how much you bring home.
Yeah.
What are you bringing in? And so if you're not really tracking that, that's a problem. Another major mistake that young business owners make is they don't separate their money from their business money.
Yeah, I made that mistake too.
You have to know you have to be able to separate that so that you will know how much your business makes. You have an idea, and then from your business you get a salary. You see what I'm saying? So your business money is not your money. I mean, it is, but you shouldn't treat it as such. You should treat it as that's a separate money, because that's the only way you're going to be able to tell if the business is growing and being able to take care of itself. Is it able to pay you as an employee, and then at the end of the year or every quarter you get paid dividends as an investor and owner? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But again, so that I think that's the thing, not separating the money, that becomes a big issue.
And I see in college a lot of times, like entrepreneurs, the ones that I say in college that make the most money, just from the outside in. I'm not there all the time, but it seems like photographers, and it seemed like that seemed like something that's hard to separate the personal and the business.
Well, it's not, because at the end of the day, if I hire you to take some photos, right, and I'm hiring your business. So then you put in your business, this is what the business made.
Okay.
Now, out of that, how much do you get paid? That's between you and your business. But the whole point is, at least I'll know that the business made this amount,
right,
and then it paid this amount in salaries, whether it's all of it or not. The whole point is it should start here as saying this is what the business made, and then it transfers over here saying this is what you made.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
So, or even in your records, even if you're putting it in the same bank accounts, your record should show that the business made X. You know what I mean? So at the end of the year, you can say, man, as a business, I made X amount of dollars now, and that was a pretty good amount. So what happened to it? Maybe I need to do a better job now of managing what I'm bringing in.
Gotcha. Okay, so do you have anything coming up, like any events or something like that, or like just give us an insight, like what do you do?
Well, right now I deal with a lot of clients as far as for my coaching, personal coaching, money management types of things like that. Because of COVID, I kind of shut everything kind of shut down, and I don't do many Zoom. I just, for me. Like even like now with our church services, we'll still have some people here, but we're on Zoom or whatever now.
Right.
And again, it's a different vibe. It's a different feeling. You know me, I'm animated. I like to interact. I like to see the faces and so forth and so on. But which hopefully we'll pick some of those things back up once the spring hit. And normally this time of year I try to slow it down just because of Christmas time. It's the end of the year. Right. I want to spend time with my family. My boys, they get a chance to come home. So again, and I think we were talking earlier just about the fact that my boys are a priority.
Very much.
When they come home, even though they want to go visit their friends and everything, I want to be in place so I can at least put my eyes on them, spend some time with them, have those conversations. The father-son talk. So
right.
Right.
Yeah, I remember you telling me about the importance of it, and you're growing up. You just made it. You just knew that you wanted to be a significant part of your kid's life,
right?
And doing it in a masculine, loving way. And I thought that was awesome.
Yeah. I just feel like too many times, either we didn't have the father in the house, or he was in the house but he wasn't active. He was a disciplinarian for a lot of people, especially in my generation growing up. A lot of times he had dads that were disciplinarians,
right,
but he didn't really do anything else as far as participating and doing those things, in a loving and caring fatherly way. So for me, it was just important to do that. But then it became important for me to share some of that with other kids. So I used to coach Part 1 of football.
Right.
And that was important to me as well, and being able to spend time with the other kids. And it's funny, me and my youngest son, we were talking about this the other day about how sometimes some kids, we would get them things to eat or whatever, because it was getting late coming home from football practice. Some of them may not have had anything else to eat. So for me that was important, and I enjoyed those things.
Man, hearing you talk, hearing you speak, hearing your stories, it's like I can see how literally, as you said earlier, how everything that you do, they all tie together.
Yeah.
You know? So I just really, appreciate how you structured your life so that the things you do, I feel like that takes less effort as well because it's all connected to you.
Right.